What is going on, guys? It is November 21st, day of our Lord 2024. And if you were like me, you probably feel like you just got socked upside the head with a bag of rocks because, boys, Bryce Underwood's gone. The world's falling apart. LSU's lost 3 games in a row. I'm tired of talking about it. Y'all are probably tired of talking to or tired of hearing about it. Can't even speak. Like, what is going right at this point? Because nothing around Louisiana and LSU is going right at the moment. As we just got the news this afternoon, if you're watching this or the day of, that Bryce Underwood, the number one player, number one quarterback in the country, has decommitted from LSU and accepted his offer to go play for Michigan. And you're probably thinking, like, why, if you don't know anything, you're like, why would a quarterback want to go play for Michigan? God knows why. $12 million is why. All right? And LSU ain't got $12 million. And that's about how this plays out. There's nothing really much more to it. The kid wanted to be at LSU. LSU did everything to try to keep him. But eventually, as a high school kid, when you're getting that kind of money, you gotta just make a decision. And eventually he was just like, the offer was too good to be true. So what does this mean for LSU? I don't even know if we're gonna break down the Vanderbilt game tonight because I'm just so tired of talking about football. It feels like every time I check my phone, something terrible is happening to LSU football, and it's nobody to blame other than Omar the Tiger, because ever since that damn Tiger stepped foot in that stadium, shit has rolled straight downhill. You have got your ass beat by Bama. You got your ass beat by Florida. You're losing recruits every day, it feels like. And it's just a mess. And everybody wants Ryan Kelly fired. Everybody wants Joe Sloan fired. And they ain't firing nobody, guys. I just hate to break it to you. Like, that's not happening. So we're going to talk about what this means for LSU going forward, what this means for this recruiting class. What does this mean for everything? Like, how am I going to convince you to keep your sanity and stop you from jumping off the cliff? Because it's going to happen. You're going to feel like death. I've been covering LSU recruiting since 2018, where I've been covering it like heavy. And I got to say, this is the only one that personally affected me. When I saw it, like, my heart sank type thing. Like, that's how. So we're not going to understate how important Bryce Underwood was to this recruiting class and how much you really wanted Bryce Underwood and how much you need Bryce Underwood, because Bryce Underwood is an amazing generational type talent, and losing a guy like that is not a good thing. But he's gone now. He ain't coming back. So let's move on, and we're going to talk about the future. All right? So let's everybody get a reset. I'll give you a second. All right, guys. New show just started. All positivity. All right. So, after the decommitment of Bryce Underwood, LSU is turning to a place where they've got to finish out this class strong. They have got 4 5-stars committed to them right now, or 3 5-stars committed to them at the moment. You got a guy like Carius Kern, who's going to be a 5-star at some point in the cycle. So you really have 4 guys that you absolutely die hard have to retain and keep together in this class. All right, you've dropped all the way from, I believe they were at 4. I believe you're at the 6th nationally now, and from where this class was looking, like, just think about where this class was with Decory Moore, Harlem Berry, Bryce Underwood, all committed to you at some point. The number 1 quarterback, number 1 wide receiver, and number 1 running back, all committed to you at one time. And it was just an amazing time to be alive, right? And then football season started, and you lost to USC, and it has been terrible since then, other than the Ole Miss game. Ole Miss game was fun. I agree. I was there. It was a great time. All right? But that gave you the false hope, unfortunately, of what this team was and what it is. And so you sit here with this class and you have a amazing recruiting class. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, LSU's recruiting class is still elite. One of the tops in the SEC. They have tremendous players in this class. But it's all about keeping these guys together, because if you have another one of the elite guys, and mainly I'm talking about the defensive guy, I'm talking about the two corners and Cade Phillips and DJ Pickett. If you lose one of those two guys, it would be absolutely devastating for what you are trying to do, because I have hope for LSU in the future. But with Bryce Underwood, the bigger question becomes now is what happens at the quarterback position, right? You're probably not going to sign at least a quality enough quarterback in this high school cycle to give you immediate playing time, right? So your attention immediately has to turn to Garrett Nussmeier. And if Garrett Nussmeier, unfortunately for LSU fans, the ones that have brains and not the ones that sit here on Twitter and tell me that Ricky Collins and guys like that should be starting over Garrett Nussmeier, the ones that actually have working brains and watch football and know the talent that Garrett Nussmeier is, those people say, hey, this guy, it's a bad draft class for quarterbacks. This guy is ranked the 4th best quarterback in the class. Like, he very easily could go mid to late first round. We've seen 4 quarterbacks taken in the first round many of times. So that is not out of the realm of possibility if he goes and has a good combine. But if you're LSU, you have to sell this man the dream. You have to sell this man the Joe Burrow, the Jaden Daniels. Like, look at what they did in their second year starting compared to what they did in their first and what it did for their careers. All right, and if you can sell that to Garrett Nussmeier, handle the NIL stuff, get him to come back. Because if you don't get him to come back, 2025 is going to be an absolute disaster, because all of that NIL money you had allotted to go spend in the transfer portal, it's all got to go towards a quarterback. Because I'm telling you guys now, Colin Hurley and Ricky Collins as your starting quarterback next year is a 6-6 football team at best. I don't care who you put around them. It is not going to go well. All right, so you have to do everything in your power. If you want to take that next jump and be that Ole Miss, be that Tennessee, be that Alabama teams, like if you want to be them, you have to start acting like them. You have to go get guys in the portal, and I'm not talking about the damn scrubs that you've been getting, the quantity guys that are here to just fill roster spots. I'm talking about guys like Walter Nolan. I'm talking about guys I mean, impact guys like Evan Stewart at Oregon. It doesn't take much, but you have to have guys that are playing for your team. LSU had signed over 10 players, and only 4 of them are contributing meaningful snaps to you this year. That can't happen. If you're going to sign 8 to 10 guys, it has to be 8 to 10 impact guys, like guys that are going to play meaningful snaps for you, because you have so many holes on the defense. There is not a player out there that is an elite defensive player that doesn't think he can come play at LSU. All right, and you have the money, go spend it, because this is the last year before revenue sharing starts, and you have to make a move. But this all boils down to the quarterback position and what you got to do with Nussmeier and guys that you can maybe convince to come back. All right, I got faith in Brian Kelly still. I got faith in this coaching staff still. Everybody is hating on this coaching staff, and I just don't get it, because we had the worst football staff imaginable last year, and they are light years ahead of where they were. All right, you have a first-time play caller. Losing Mike Denbrock hurt. A guy who's called plays for 30-plus years to a guy who's just now calling plays for almost the first time in his career. Obviously, there was going to be a drop-off there. I don't think play calling is a big issue. I think it's LSU's ability and what they have on offense and not being able to design an offense around what they're good at. And people are starting to figure out what they suck at. And what they suck at is throwing the ball down the field. There is not a receiver on that team that can stretch the field vertically. The only guy you had was Chris Hilton, and he doesn't know how to catch the football correctly. So you're left with an issue here. You have to go get a dominant wide receiver 1 in the portal. You have to go get guys that are going to make impacts for your defense. You have to go out there and you have to tell Nussmeier, hey, you have got to come back. We need you, and it'll do wonders for the longevity of your career if you come back, and if you take the Joe Burrow and the Jaden Daniels effect, you could be the number 1 overall pick next year. That's how good this kid is. If he could just fix some of the little things and you can build a better team around him, you can figure this out. All right, I'm not drawing a blank and just going ahead and canceling next year, because with the transfer portal, you never know how good you're going to be until the season comes, because you're going to go get transfers. You're going to go get guys, I think, that are going to make an instant impact, and that is what it's all about. But this recruiting cycle, you have to focus on the 5 stars you already got and keeping the guys committed you already have committed. You're going to lose Derek Meadows. You might lose a couple more. All right? Just don't make the colossal collapse and let it fold into the recruiting cycle. Go out there and take that money you were going to give Bryce Underwood and go get Jaheim Stewart. You have Solomon Thomas, the #1 offensive lineman in the country, coming in this weekend for a visit against Vanderbilt. Show him a good time. He's committed to Florida State. Flip him. Find a way. Be that team that goes out there and go gets the big fish, because unfortunately for LSU fans, they don't understand this because LSU hadn't done a lot of this. But when you go big game hunting and you go try to get the best players around the country that aren't in your state, this is what happens. Like, you're not signing all of them. Like, when you play the 5-star game, 5 stars like attention. 5 stars are going to be getting thrown offers that sometimes they just can't refuse. All right? And you're going to lose guys because you're fishing in the biggest fish in a small pond. All right? And everybody's throwing offers out to this kid. And if this kid has no real ties to you, it is hard for them to turn that down. And that is the case that we're dealing with now. But I believe in LSU. I believe in Brian Kelly. I believe in this coaching staff. Most importantly, they need to finish off the season on a good note. They need to have a strong recruiting finish these next 2 weeks, and they need to nail it on early signing day and get these guys pins to paper and across the finish line, and everybody will forget about this because Bryce Underwood's going to go to Michigan. And God knows what that offense is still going to look like when he gets there. All right, Bryce Underwood could be an option in the portal someday, right? But that kid's not coming to LSU. I wouldn't stress too much about it. It sucks. Don't get me wrong. It's a terrible thing. I hate that he's leaving. You guys should hate that he's leaving. But it's not the end of the world. And LSU still has a damn good recruiting class. So that's all I got for today. If you guys liked today's video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment. Let me know how you guys are feeling about this whole situation and how you're feeling in football in general. Because, God, man, I can't take another loss on Saturday. I might just never make a video ever again. So that's all I got, man. Y'all have a great, blessed weekend. Have fun rocking your new gold jerseys this weekend. It's going to look fire in Tiger Stadium at night. See you guys next time.